The amphiptyr, or amphithyr, or fiftyr, meaning bi-winged or two-winged, is a striking type of winged serpent found in European heraldry. Unlike dragons with legs, the amphiptyr is purely serpentine, no limbs, just a long, coiling body crowned with wings. It embodies speed, grace, and an almost celestial presence in medieval symbolism. Descriptions of the creature vary, but they are always vivid. Amphiptyrs were said to have light-colored feathers glowing like a sunrise, a serpentine body similar to a lindworm, and bat-like wings with feathers covering most of the forearm, often tinged green. Other accounts describe them as entirely feathered, with a spiked tail, bird-like wings, and even a beak-like snout, blending serpent and bird into a single elegant but fearsome form. Though rare in heraldry, amphiptyrs appear on the arms of the House of Poitiers, depicted with a bendlet purpure between two amphiptyrs. They also serve as supporters in the heraldry of the Duke of Trems and the Duke of Gevres, where their winged serpentine form symbolizes distinction, legacy, and noble power. But what if a dragon didn't soar through the skies and didn't glide above kingdoms? What if it slithered through the darkest forests instead, limbless, ancient, and rolling toward you like a living wheel of scales? The lindworm, also spelled lindwime or lindworm, is a mythical creature from northern, western, and central European folklore. It is traditionally described as a giant serpent that lurks deep within forests, a creature often regarded as a type of dragon. In Central Europe, it is commonly depicted as a serpent with four limbs, sometimes with wings and even hind limbs. However, in Swedish folklore, it is usually portrayed as completely limbless. Broadly defined, a lindworm is any Western dragon with strong serpentine features. In Nordic tradition, especially in Sweden, the lindworm appears as a massive limbless forest serpent that lives among rocks in the deep wilderness. It is said to be dark in color with a lighter underside. Along its spine, it may have fish-like dorsal fins, or even a horse-like mane, earning it the name mane snake. For both defense and attack, the lindworm can spit a foul milk-like substance capable of blinding its enemies. Yet forests are not the only places dragons hide. Some don't guard treasure beneath roots and stone. They wait beneath the ocean itself, watching the sky, hungry for something far more celestial. Bakunawa is a legendary hybrid of a dragon and a sea serpent from the Philippines, one of the most feared and fascinating creatures in Filipino mythology. It belongs to a terrifying class of beings often described as celestial eaters, monsters said to consume the very lights of the sky. For generations, its story has been whispered in villages, told under moonlit skies, and passed down as both warning and wonder. With a long serpentine body more akin to an eastern dragon than a western one, Bakunawa is described as having the head of a dragon and the sleek, whiskered features of a catfish. Unlike traditional dragons, it has no arms or legs, yet it doesn't need them. Its sheer size is enough to shake the world when it moves. Legends claim it is so massive that it can rise from the depths and swallow the moon whole, plunging the night into darkness. According to myth, Bakunawa waits beneath the sea, watching the sky for the perfect moment to strike. When a lunar eclipse darkens the moon, it was believed that the beast was attempting to devour it. To stop it, Filipinos would rush outside, beating drums, clashing pots, and shouting into the night to drive the creature away. Even today, elders still share the tale with children, though, like many ancient traditions, the echoes of Bakunawa's legend are slowly fading with time. But not all dragon hybrids bring terror from the deep. Some arrive as omens, majestic beings with hooves striking water, scales gleaming like armor, and wings that carry heaven's message. The Long Ma is a fabled winged horse with dragon scales in Chinese mythology, a creature that looks as if two legendary beasts were fused into one. It has the body of a horse, yet its skin is covered in dragon scales. Some descriptions give it a horse's head and a snake's tail. A true dragon horse has wings at its sides and can walk across water without sinking. It is said to have been blue and red, its body armored in scales, its mane flowing like the dragon's, and its neigh echoing like the clear note of a flute. Ancient myth proclaimed it a relative of the dragon, bound to the mysterious powers of water. It was not just an extraordinary animal, but a sacred one, endowed with prodigious qualities and marked with signs of divine origin. In tradition, magnificent horses were believed to be avatars of dragons, and in antiquity, the tallest and most awe-inspiring horses in China were simply called dragons. Many classical Chinese texts link the Long Ma to the mythical He-Tu, the Yellow River chart. According to legend, a Long Ma emerged from the Yellow River carrying a sacred map on its back, revealing it to Fu Xi or Shun. Its appearance was more than a marvel, it was an omen. When a holy ruler sat upon the throne, the dragon horse would rise from the river bearing heaven's design, signaling the mandate of a sage king. And what happens when dragon blood doesn't mix with horse, but with human? When scales replace skin and the battlefield shifts from earth to storm-filled skies. Dragonkin, often called dragon men in older mythologies or dragonborn in modern fantasy, are legendary hybrids of dragon and human. They bear the stature of a human but are marked with dragon scales, sometimes a dragon's head, and often wings, tails, and claws. They embody the raw might of a dragon fused with the intelligence and cunning of a human. Powerful examples include the Zmeyu and the Zduhach of Balkan and Slavic tradition, human-like beings said to be born from the union of a dragon and a human woman. In Serbian tradition, the Zduhach and Vetrovnjak and the Dragon Man in Bulgarian, Macedonian, and southern Serbian lore were believed to possess an inborn supernatural power to defend their estates, villages, or entire regions from destructive storms, hail, and torrential rains. Legend says their souls could leave their bodies during sleep, rising into the skies to battle demonic forces that drove the deadly weather. After defeating these beings and scattering the storm clouds, they would return to their bodies, awakening exhausted from the fight. The Dragon Man was said to battle female demons called Allah, who led hail clouds over fields to destroy crops and drain the land's fertility. Zduhachi from one region would clash in the sky against rival Zduhachi who sought to unleash storms upon their territory. The Vetrovnjak fought a brider of bad weather imagined as a black bird. Across Serbia, Montenegro, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Banat, and Macedonia, these dragon men were remembered not just as hybrids, but as unseen guardians waging war above the clouds. Still, some hybrids are older than warriors and storms. Imagine a serpent crowned not with horns, but with feathers, a being that binds sky and earth, wind and wisdom into one divine form. Quetzalcoatl, or feathered serpent, is one of the most powerful and visually striking deities in Aztec mythology. He is depicted as a great serpent adorned with precious feathers, most often the shimmering green plumes of the quetzal bird, blending sky and earth into a single dragon-like form. He is associated with rattlesnakes and radiant quetzals, and in different aspects he embodies the wind and the morning star, Venus. In Aztec culture, he also appears in fully human form, wearing a beak-like wind mask and the breastplate Ehekascoatl, a spiraled conch shell known as the wind jewel, hanging at his chest. The earliest images show a powerful serpent rising behind a ritual figure, hinting at divine presence. Later, at Teotihuacan, massive temple carvings portray the feathered serpent as a monumental, scale-covered being emerging from stone. During the Classic and Post-Classic periods, the image evolves, still serpentine, but increasingly fused with human traits. Feathered serpent heads line temple walls, their open jaws and flowing plumes turning architecture into sacred myth. As worship spread across Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent became central in major religious centers such as Cholula. In the post-classic period, Cholula stood as a primary center of his devotion, where he was revered as Quetzalcoatl. More than a symbol, he was linked to rulership and priestly authority, and grand temples were raised in his honor, solidifying his role not only as a god of wind and wisdom, but as a divine force woven into power, prophecy, and cosmic order. But there is another creature that appears only at the rise of greatness, not to destroy, not to devour, but to announce destiny itself. The Qi-Lin is a legendary hooved chimerical creature in Chinese mythology, said to appear only at the moment of great destiny, when a sage or illustrious ruler is about to rise, or when one is about to pass. It belongs to the Lin, a family of one-horned mythical beasts. The poem classic of poetry praises the feet, forehead, and horn of the Qi-Lin, and the Spring and Autumn Annals records that a Lin was captured and recognized by Confucius himself, marking it as no ordinary creature but a sign of heaven's will. Visually, the Qi-Lin is a striking hybrid. It bears dragon-like features, a head crowned with antlers, thick lashed eyes, a flowing upward mane, and a long beard. Its body is fully or partially covered in scales and shaped like an ox, deer, horse, or more commonly a goat, always standing on cloven hooves. It may appear in any color, sometimes radiant and jewel-like, and is often depicted with flames curling around its body as if it carries divine fire. Legends say a Qi-Lin appeared in the garden of the legendary Yellow Emperor and in the capital of Emperor Yao, affirming their benevolent rule. It is also said that the birth of Confucius was foretold by the arrival of a Qi-Lin. The creature does not wander aimlessly, it manifests only at pivotal moments, serving as a living omen of virtue, wisdom, and heaven's mandate. Yet not every hybrid is a blessing. Some are born from unnatural rituals, a barnyard creature twisted into something lethal, its gaze alone enough to end a life. A cockatrice is a mythical nightmare made flesh, a two-legged dragon or serpent with the head of a rooster. Born from a chicken's egg hatched by a toad or snake, it blurs the line between barnyard and abyss. Over time, it became synonymous with the basilisk, a monstrous creature said to hatch from a rooster's egg, incubated by a toad or sometimes a snake in darker retellings. Its power is as terrifying as its form. The cockatrice can kill with a single glance, a touch, or even its breath. Legends claim that only the weasel is immune to its deadly stare. Yet this seemingly unstoppable creature has strange weaknesses. It is said to die instantly at the sound of a rooster's crow, and one of the surest ways to defeat it is to make it look at its own reflection. In heraldry, the cockatrice resembles a wyvern, but bears the unmistakable head of a rooster instead of a dragon's head. Its comb, wattles, and beak are often colored differently from the rest of its body, emphasizing its hybrid nature. Sometimes called a basilisk, it endures as a striking heraldic beast and a symbol drawn from centuries of myth. Still, even that nightmare pales beside a winged terror built purely for war. 2 legs, vast wings, and a venomous tail poised to strike from above. The wyvern is a fearsome type of mythical dragon, built with 2 powerful legs, 2 vast wings, and often a barbed, pointed tail. It combines the body of a great serpent with the wings and hind legs of a bird, and its nature is closely tied to the viper, portrayed as a massive, venomous snake. In medieval art, it appears as a 2-legged winged serpent, sometimes even depicted with a second head at the tip of its tail, doubling its menace. Winged serpents were not unique to medieval Europe. Ancient Mediterranean and Near Eastern cultures told of similar creatures, from protective winged cobras to serpentine guardians carved into Mesopotamian stone. Greek writers spoke of winged serpents and winged dragons, while Roman accounts expanded the image, describing them with sweeping wings and even fiery breath. Over time, serpent and dragon merged into a single eyebrow-raising hybrid, creating the ambiguous, awe-inspiring form that defined the wyvern. In medieval British heraldry, the wyvern became a powerful symbol. Though often confused with dragons and worms, a clear distinction eventually took hold. The wyvern has 2 legs, while the dragon has 4. That difference cemented its identity. From coats of arms to folklore, the wyvern endured as a distinct emblem, a 2-legged winged serpent forever set apart from the 4-legged dragon. And finally, what if cutting off a dragon's head only made it stronger? What if the more you fought, the more impossible the battle became, a writhing serpent that multiplied with every strike? The Lernaean Hydra, more often called simply the Hydra, was a monstrous serpent that lurked in the waters of Lerna in Greek and Roman mythology. Born of Typhon and Echidna, it was no ordinary beast. Its breath was poisonous, and its blood was so deadly that even its scent meant death. The creature was a dragon hybrid with multiple heads. Accounts vary, and in later versions of the myth, every time one head was severed, 2 more grew back in its place. Some depictions even show it with a double tail, amplifying its unnatural, writhing form. The Hydra made its lair in Lake Lerna in the Argolid, a place believed to be an entrance to the underworld. Slaying it became the second of the 12 labors of Hercules. But this was no simple battle. Each time Heracles cut off a head, more would erupt from the bleeding neck. Overwhelmed by its relentless regeneration, he called upon his nephew Aialas, who cauterized the neck stumps with fire to prevent the heads from growing back. From this legend came the expression, cutting off a Hydra, a symbol of a battle that only grows more difficult the harder one fights.